Disney has always been at the forefront of amazing animatronics. And some new innovative technology looks like it might be heading for Walt Disney World. Hello everybody, welcome. Disney recently filed a new patent that could completely change the game for all animatronics at theme parks around the world. And it looks like Frozen might be first on the list for this upgrade. Disney has been the industry leader when it comes to audio animatronics for decades. They have been creating advanced and lifelike animatronics for over 50 years. In fact, the first Disney attraction to feature audio animatronics was Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room, which first debuted in Disneyland in 1963. This show featured over 150 singing and talking and moving birds, as well as a handful of other figures. Disney actually coined the name audio animatronics, and it was trademarked in 1964. The first human audio animatronic was Abraham Lincoln, created by Walt Disney Company back in 1964 for the World's Fair. And since then, they have just been bringing us amazing advanced audio animatronics year after year, continually innovating, continually upgrading, and giving us more lifelike and realistic animatronics. From Disney's smallest animatronic, Chef Remy, there in the Epcot Pavilion, to one of their most impressive and advanced animatronics, the Navi River Shaman, that is featured in the Navi River Journey there in Animal Kingdom. But not all of their animatronics have been a home run over the years. Who can forget the Disco Yeti, the extremely advanced, largest animatronic of its kind that was created for Expedition Everest at Animal Kingdom. This is a massive creature, a massive animatronic that was built for that ride. I was fortunate enough to get to see that animatronic when it actually worked, when it physically moved and clawed at you and scared you in that attraction. It was very much an impressive sight to see. The amount of money that they spent on that attraction, I think it was like $500 million or something, was just insane at the time. But unfortunately, the animatronic had some problems with its structural integrity and how it's basically constructed as part of the foundation of Expedition Everest, and it was cracking the foundation, and they couldn't fix it. There was no way to fix this animatronic in the foundation without completely gutting this thing and costing millions and millions of dollars. And so we ended up with Disco Yeti, all the strobe flashing lights that actually make him appear to be moving as he's in B mode instead of A mode. So A mode is him moving around. He's not been in that for decades. He's now in B mode, which is strobe light effects to give him the impression that he's moving, even though he's not. So while that was amazing for a few months, it's been a letdown ever since, and a lot of us would love to see that movement come back, because if you ever got to see it, it was really impressive. Then of course we have the controversial Frozen Ever After animatronics that were built as part of the Maelstrom replacement. This is a great attraction. I love it. It's super fun. I love the Frozen integration. The animatronics are great, and Disney decided to try something new with a projection mapped face. And at the time, the best technology was sort of a rear-facing projection mapping. So there's the facial structure, and the projection mapping is inside of the head, and it projects it onto the face from the inside out. It is literally just sort of a canvas that does not move around, and all the movement, all the facial features, everything are projection mapped from the rear. And this is a nice effect, but it also creates a lighting issue where there is sort of, it looks backlit, it looks brighter than the rest of the scene around it and the rest of the body. And it's very obvious that there is some sort of like lighting projection mapping going on in the face. So while the effect is pretty good, it's never been like amazing. And so a lot of people, and Disney themselves has always felt like it could be better. Even the brand new Walt Disney animatronic there in Disneyland, it is an impressive animatronic, audio animatronic figure. He stands up, he sits down, he's great. He looks fantastic. He's got great fluid movement, but there has been a complaint about this animatronic that it doesn't necessarily look like Walt Disney as much as it should. That's been the biggest complaint. So the execution of it has been great. It looks amazing. The audio animatronic is stellar. It's just the facial features haven't quite landed. But this is all part of the process. Innovating, trying new things, taking swings at the plate. Sometimes you miss, sometimes you hit a home run.
Here's the pitch to Serrano. He swings and drives from the deep left. Way back, way back. This ball is gone. Yeah!
It's all part of the process, and you learn from every experience that you create. Now, this is not to say that Disney has been the only company innovating in the animatronic space. There are other companies out there like Universal who has been making massive upgrades to their animatronics in their theme parks. Universal had originally announced this concept of a Megabot, which essentially was this really upgraded animatronic. Not only like fluid, smooth movements on a large scale with large animatronics, but also using some sort of projection mapping technology for different elements of the animatronics. And you can see this reflected in Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein experiment at Epic Universe that just opened. The animatronics there are nothing short of miraculous. I mean, the movements, the fluidity of like the werewolf and the creature from the Black Lagoon just look absolutely fantastic. And in the pre-show, you have that gigantic Frankenstein's monster audio animatronic that basically walks out from behind the curtain and has great facial expressions. It's fully mechanical audio animatronic. There's not really any projection mapping going on there. However, Victoria Frankenstein in that same pre-show does have a projection mapped face. So she also has the great fluid movement of her animatronic from a mechanical perspective, but her face is actually projection mapped. Now this is front-facing projection mapping, so it's being projected from an external source onto the face as she's moving around. It is basically tracking and following and making sure that it all stays in place. And I think it looks great. It's a nice upgrade from the Frozen Ever After backlight, sort of back rear-facing projection mapping. I think it looks really nice. And it's a big improvement, but it still looks a little bit wonky sometimes. It's a little bit off, but it is an improvement. But you can clearly see there is a ways to go. There are more improvements that are needed to make it feel even more lifelike. So most people agree that they haven't quite landed the audio animatronics, especially when it comes to human characters, human faces, or human-like expressions. They haven't quite nailed it yet. Now we have a brand new patent that Disney has filed. This patent was published on September 4th of 2025, and it's essentially for a projection mapping technology that projects on what they call a mechanically animated surface. So unlike other projection mapping where you are projection mapping onto a static surface where really the surface itself that you're projection mapping on doesn't move. If you think about Walt Disney World and the projection mapping that happens on the castle, on Cinderella's castle there, the castle doesn't move. It structurally stays the same space, and then the projection mapping just kind of moves around it. You think of Victoria Frankenstein at Monsters Unchained. While her head does pivot and move, there's really no movement on the face itself. It's all handled via projection mapping. This new patent, this new technology and system aims to fix that and change the game. It essentially talks about the ability to have projection mapping onto a surface that is also in motion and moving. So if you think about a facial structure of an audio animatronic, some of the large motion features, like maybe the mouth moving up and down or larger facial elements, will still be mechanical. So there are things moving on the face. So not just the head rotating and moving around, but larger motion components are still mechanically driven. But then onto that, you combine the facial sort of projection mapping that's going to handle all of the finer details of a face, for example. The human face has so many components and elements and fine details. So things like skin texture and wrinkles, eye motion, and even lighting and like subtle shadowing will be handled via the projection mapping. And the question is why? Why not handle all those things mechanically? What's the reason for doing that? Well, it's because of the maintenance costs, the wear and tear, the issues that you have, and all those subtle little mechanic movements that are going to be really hard to get with like a silicone skin or facial prosthetic that's happening there. Getting that level of detail is really difficult. And so by doing a combined projection map with the mechanical movement, is going to reduce the wear and tear, it's going to lower the maintenance costs, it's going to keep these animatronics from breaking as often and having to be taken out to be upkept, and it's going to create a level of immersive and like realistic animatronic feel that's just never been achieved before. However, it doesn't stop there. It's not just about the look and feel. The patent also talks about some sort of like real-time puppet interface. And this interface, this layer, essentially combines and works with AI to be able to analyze guest speech. So think about having a conversation or maybe saying things, or maybe this animatronic is talking to you, and guests being able to actually react and speak, and then the animatronic responding not just verbally, but also with facial expressions. So if you think about, if you've ever done Turtle Talk with Crush over at the Epcot Pavilion, some of the facial features and things that Crush can do, because there's a real person behind that sort of screen that's able to actually see you and interact with you, and then he can do like facial expressions like confused faces and surprised faces and all these sorts of things. Think about that all being handled automatically via AI instead of it having to be an actor behind the scenes. So you being able to have a conversation or say something with an animatronic, and then the animatronic's facial expression changing in real time to reflect whatever it was you said. So if you said something that was confusing, it's gonna make like a confusing face, maybe rolling their eyes, things like that. The ability to react immediately is just, that is a game changer. So this is really exciting. The question is, when are we gonna get to see it? Well, we just got word today that Disney is going to be upgrading some of their animatronics and putting new animatronics into their parks. And the first, most likeliest place that that's going to go is this new announcement for Frozen Ever After animatronics changing. We just talked about the rear projection mapped faces that are part of the Frozen attraction, and sort of the shortcomings with that face. And so a lot of people have talked about, well, they really need to improve it. If you look at Hong Kong's version of those Frozen characters like Anna and Elsa and Sven, you look at their characters and they're just light years better. They're essentially fully mechanical, and then they do use some projection mapping for some of the effects, but the facial expressions and everything, it's just much more of an upgraded mechanical experience. And so they talk specifically about upgrading Frozen Ever After to be more reflective of the innovative technology improvements they've made with audio animatronics out of the Hong Kong experience. They actually come out and say Frozen Ever After figures will face the future of audio animatronics. So very clearly they're kind of poking fun at themselves and saying, we're gonna upgrade those faces, we're gonna improve that. That's what you deserve. That's what Frozen deserves. So this is really exciting. Now, they absolutely could just transplant the same technology they're using at Hong Kong and not use this new facial projection mapping technology in addition to the mechanical upgrades. However, it is very possible that this will be the first incarnation that we see in the parks of this new patent. So I am very excited about this. This is a significant improvement. This is a big deal, and I'm really looking forward to seeing if it makes its way into Frozen Ever After, if we're gonna get this new upgraded technology. We also have a few other new animatronics making their way. We've got the new Zootopia animatronic that's there at Animal Kingdom in the Tree of Life. Wow, a lot of Animal Kingdom stuff I'm realizing today. Benjamin Clawhauser will be making his debut in the Tough to Be a Bug replacement with Zootopia. This is essentially like the Hopper replacement animatronic. I don't think we're going to see upgraded projection mapping here. I think this is purely mechanical. We also have the Penguins and the new Scooter animatronic that we talked about with the Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets. I don't think we'll see any facial, projection mapping happening there. It doesn't really make sense for those types of animatronics. They are Muppets, and Muppets don't have that same level of detail in the faces and things. They don't need it. They actually probably would look weird using this technology. I think we're going to see like the standard mechanical Muppet type animatronic. However, the big one that I'm really expecting to see this at is the brand new Encanto, however you want to say it, attraction that's coming to Tropical Americas. That new Casita house and all the animatronics that are going to be in there, I fully expect to see these new animatronics with this projection mapping technology. I think that's where we're going to see it the most. This is a prime property for this to show up. You're gonna have so many animatronics in this space. Lots of human facial expressions needed, lots of fine details that you can have. I think this is where we're gonna see it the most. So it could be Frozen, it could be Encanto first, it might be both, we'll find out. Either way, this is an exciting time to be alive, exciting time to be a Disney fan. There's so much great stuff coming to Disney. I couldn't be more pumped for it. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are you excited about this? Do you agree the Frozen Ever After needs a little bit of an upgrade? Are you excited about the possibilities that this new technology is going to bring to the table? I'd love to hear from you down in the comments. What do you think? Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this content. And until I see you next time, the way is the easy way. Bye-bye, everybody.